here's the deal. Of course, after ending the stream yesterday, I realized several things. Well, at the end of the stream, the last one, we realized this old code didn't do gamma. And I was also looking at it last night, and I was like, well, it's doing all this stuff, and we should maybe change it to clamp, the way we do in the main sampler, which is here. But then I was like, okay, the last thing we did last night was also set up this time window that had this horrifically expensive sampling because we generated the whole buffer. But this actually pulls just one sample. Like I hadn't wanted to add code like this, but this actually does that. So so maybe we could refactor this to be usable in that case as well. But first we have to fix it. Let me show you the problem. So it's just now, if I insert a sample halfway between this and that, we change the output. That did not used to be so. It did not used to be so. Well, it is what it is. So we got to fix that. And I'm just going to start by doing this stuff. And we decided we're always going to gamma, so let's just do this. And then going to do that. So going to do that. Going to do... Now, whenever I have code like this, it makes me nervous. Because there's just the code duplication, and it like, well, what we've already seen, this bug that we saw. This bug that we saw was an example of code getting out of sync, right? So we did this feature in one place and we forgot about the other place. And this was the consequence. You know what? I'm just going to make POW for vector 3. Usually I don't do that kind of thing. But in this case, it's going to help enough. All right. Okay, because here I just want to say RGB0 is POW of this, comma 1 over gamma, right? 0, 1, 2. No, not to. What am I doing? Not to. Right, and then lerp. See, this isn't even doing the interpolation either. And then here, what we did in the other interpolator was instead of having these cases, we did clamping. Although I don't know if that's going to work here. We'll see. Okay. Yeah. All right. Boom. So now it's changing the answer, but not that much. And the reason it's changing the answer is we're lerping now. We're lerping in gamma, which is closer. But if I change this to linear, now it doesn't change the result at all because we're lerping. So we have to fix that frickin' part. Okay, so dude, we got to do all this stuff. We got to do color space and geometry and wrapping. Oh my God, dude. That's why we need to do the clamping, is because that'll help us implement wrapping. So we're going to need to stop and think about that. Okay, so all this work to get one little thing correct. You know, we could do this the same way we're doing the other thing, which is to just generate the time view, just to generate a ton of samples. But let's not. Let's not and say we did. Also, that would even be a little bit inaccurate. Okay, so we just got to do all the things we did over here. It's quite possible, actually, that we should factor this into a frickin' macro. Or an inline, I don't know. Because, I mean, come on, look at all this. Do we want to duplicate all this in another case? I don't feel like we do. Let's make sure that doesn't break anything. Putting that back. Okay. let's just take a look at this for a second. So we get K0, K1. Really, I0 and I1 are the input parameters. Yeah, we're also not interpolating alpha for the new keys by the, yeah. So we just need this macro. So let's try it. Let's just factor this thing. So we have the cursor. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what should be the parameters to the macro. In the new key case, yeah, like, so we have our target T and our cursor. So I think here, interpolate takes cursor and let's make this an inline for now. It takes a cursor and a T and samples. Produces an RGBA. Okay, this is going to be called cursor. Then interp and the sorted. Dude. By the way, this we probably want to change as well. Today might have a lot of yucky restructuring because, so the other thing is we're doing this augmented keyframe, which has the source keyframe data that people care about, plus a bunch of temporary stuff that we use to render and whatever in one struct. And I don't think we actually need that for interpolation. And the problem is, we're exporting this source data so you can go recreate these gradients like on your own without the GUI. And so you don't want augmented keyframe because that's like GUI stuff. So we want to change this function to take later, again, an array of non-augmented color keyframes. And that means we should probably store these in 2 parallel arrays, the rendering data, etc. All right, so we're just going to do all this. We're going to put a no check in here. Because we were doing this RGB the whole time, but we want the output in RGBA. Right, RGBA dot W and return RGBA. So then down here, samples I equals interpolate of color cursor T samples interp sorted. Just like that. So this actually, in a computer science way, once we move this chunky ass out of the way, is going to look nicer. Space. Right, because we assigned these to temporaries. Oops. I got it wrong. Type mismatch. Type wanted vector for type given array of vector. What? What? Type mismatch. Type wanted vector for type given. Oh, as the argument. For some reason, I was thinking return value. What do I mean samples is a vector? What? That doesn't make any sense. Can you tell it's too early in the morning? We don't need samples. What am I doing? It's not a vector 4, and it doesn't matter. Okay. Here we go. It still works. So it's a little bit sad anytime you factor something into a function. But, you know, it's computers. Okay, so it's still changing when we add the keyframes because, well, that one was a keyframe. Well, you can't tell there, but yeah, see that? Because we're not actually calling this yet, right? It's not even visible in anyone else's local function. Okay. So we're just going to pop this down here. We're going to interpolate one sample Holio right there. And now what was the function? Init color by interpolation. This one, we now just need to call this instead of buffing out all this. We're going to go key.color RGB is interpolate one sample of index, right? Actually, index -1. This is a little bit scary. We're not going to worry about 0 yet for a second because, yeah, I don't know. Key.t interp and sorted. All right. Oh, God. That didn't work. It looks cool, though. But it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because there's a bug. Well, that's great. So what did I do wrong? Let's go back and look. Okay, so we can pass index -1 because we're clamping. Oh, because see, we actually need to pass these. See, because here you don't want to interpolate to your own key. If you interpolate to your own key, you will always get the value in the key because your t is equal to the target t, which means you're going to read your own 0 input and output 0. It gives you exactly okay. Boom. Except it's still changing the shit for some reason. Dude, what's going on? Maybe when you're not linear, does it make sense that the interpolation changes when you're not? So, okay. Here is the thing that I'm realizing. It is different it is different statements that the color is exactly the same at this point versus that the intermediate colors are the same, right? Because if the method of interpolation, yeah, like if the method of interpolation is like a quadratic or something, right? You can't split a quadratic in half and have two quadratics, can you? I guess you do. But you actually it depends on what you mean. For Hermite interpolation, actually, it's obvious that you won't get the same thing because we're doing this shape where, you know, it's an S curve. And so when you split it, you get two S curves, which obviously isn't the same as one S curve. So, right, so when we do linear, we're still getting the right thing. So here, I mean, it looks like I'm getting the same color in the spot, although we could Photoshop that carefully to determine that fact. It does look like I'm getting the same color. I'm just changing the interpolation, which is a little bit of a bummer, but also actually makes sense. I like how perfect this is. Yeah. So this actually makes sense to me now. But at least it's correct in that we're giving you back the same color at the point. It's also interesting because, so both of these give you a flatter area around the keyframe. This is actually useful because, like, if I want to spend more time in this intermediate color, I just add a frame there, right? And that actually means something to me as a content creator. It's actually better from a practical standpoint because like in linear, if you're like, I want to spend more time in this color right here, then to get that, you can't really get it. Like, as I stretch this out, I'm like diluting the color. It's subtle, right? But you can see this is more peachy and this is less peachy and more white, right? Because we just don't, because it's linear, you don't ever spend time there, right? It's just an edge. Whereas, you know, with the Hermite, if it's like, oh, I want more time here, you just get it, right? So, yeah, that's cool. Okay, now let's fix our no check-ins. Right, so here we're just going to do this. Whoops. And here we're just going to go, we're going to set the W down here. Dude, I need to get Emacs to stop making such a mess out of the case statements. Okay. Actually, this is fine. We just put that there because we have to POW it anyway. We have to POW it anyway. All right. All right, so this is good. That was not as ugly as I thought. All we did was we factored it like you learn in computer school. And I'm going to commit. I'm going to say fixed incorrect keyframe addition. Boom. Okay. That's great. Now, the time view. Here we're doing this horrible thing where we generate all the goddamn samples. But I forgot that we already do what we need. We just want to sample at one point in time. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say I0 colon equals -1. So we need the sorted. How do we do this? Right. So if t is greater than or equal to, so key, right? Next key, if t is greater than or equal to next key dot t. Actually, if t is less, then we just break, right? Otherwise, we increment that. Okay. Let's clamp the t up here. And then we're just going to go. We're going to go color equals interpolate one sample, I0 plus 1, t, interp sorted. And that is much nicer than the thing that we did. Because A, it gives us a more accurate answer because we're not linearly interpolating between a bunch of output samples. B, it's a lot faster. And then this is unscary enough that we could do this, right, and get rid of this. Okay, now the thing is, are we doing something bad here? So next key. The thing is, we actually want to let ourselves go off the end. Actually, no, because off the end means... No, that's fine. I think this is right. Let's see. We will test. All right, this is a much more sane function now. Okay, so we're going to make an obvious final keyframe that oh, okay. That part is busted. If you add the very last one, that's not working. What if the first one? That's also not working. Okay. Oh, when it's clamped. Probably because, again, we're getting the key itself. Yeah. If we let that function clamp and we're -1, we're going to clamp to ourselves. So that's fine. We will fix it, but not yet because we're doing this other thing. Okay, so we've got some green at the end here. All right, time view. Yeah, we're not seeing the green. We're like fading to black again. Although that might be an alpha problem, right? For avoidance of doubt, let's do that, of course. Blue. We have a thin blue at the end. All right, time view. Yeah, okay. I dig it. Look how good this gradient is right here, guys. Based on LLVM? No. Why do people keep saying based? No, it's not based on LLVM. No. No, no, no. No. We use LLVM usefully to produce optimized code at the current moment, but we could delete LLVM from our compiler and we still have a completely working compiler. It just doesn't optimize that much. It does have some optimizations. Look how good that looks, dude. Right there. I mean, there's a little bit of mock banding over here, but... Ah! Here's one where OKLab does look better. Well, maybe, I don't know. Like, it depends what you want. Depends what you want. But we see the return of the Weisman score. Well, yeah, when we have a reason to do that, for sure. I mean, why would we stop the Weisman score? OK Lab seems to do longer transitions. Well, it also, I mean, it's not just longer. Like if you look here, you're getting green in between blue and orange, which maybe you want, right? Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you dig it. But in RGB, you don't, right? I mean, this is kind of like a cyanish blue or something. And this is a darker blue, and then this is orange over here. And you get a green in there. And with RGB, it's like you're not, right? You're just going from blue to orange. With, you do get, this is a little bit like yellowish whatever. You could say that's muddy, or you could say it's accurate, right? Slight bit of green in RGB, yeah. Yeah, I agree. There is a little bit. It's like right there. It's just less. It's a lot less. But yeah, I mean, it depends what you want. It's clear after doing this experiment. The biggest quality improvement is just doing it gamma correct, right? To a first approximation, doing it gamma correct fixes most. And then the interpolation geometry being not linear, right? Like this is a pretty big quality improvement. Those two things are the big variables, and then everything else is just like, you know, is what it is. Orange is not real, it's brown. We'll go pick a brown off a tree and eat it, and let me know how that goes. Okay. So I got to fix the situation. This init color by interpolation. We have to manually no, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of manually jiggering around, see, I kind of want, if I could just get the sorted keyframes without this key in it. Yeah, you know what? We're going to do this a different way. We're going to get the sorted keyframes without the key in it. And then we're going to find the index for the T. Okay, so down here, this thing, yeah, okay, if we do all this, we can get rid of this 2 integer parameters thing. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say I0 is find index of T sorted comma T may return -1. All right. And then we do that. No check-in. Remove I0 plus 1. Because it's always going to be I0 plus 1. Here, we're going to say Okay, so we do that. Let's make sure that compiles. Easy clap. Now we're going to use this in the other place. Here, where I started to type this comment and then didn't finish it. So we're going to go back to index plus 1 for now. Up here, the change that we're going to do, we're not going to do this at all. We don't need that. Okay. When we get the sorted keyframes, we're going to give it an index to ignore. So we get the keyframes not including the one index to ignore -1. Easy clap. Oops. Undeclared identifier T, because it's key.t. All right. So now, boom. Boom. Easy clap. Let's do that. Let's do that with wrapping enabled so that we actually get a gradient of some kind. This is a nice color right here. Look at that. Look at that color. Boom. 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 Easy clap. Now let's make sure the time view still works because we changed that. Dude, doing a good job at programming is so nice. Okay, so now we can remove this parameter from interpolate one sample because it's always +1. Wait. Oh, that's the one I literally just edited. I was like, wait, what? There we go. Boom! I thought we were going to have a big slog of refactoring for a long time, but, you know, it's been like 40 minutes of actual work and we're done. We're done. Dunzo. I just like that color right there. Remember how I said you can get more of the color? Let's just do that. Let's get more of that color. And this just isn't a color I think about very much. Isn't it just 250? What? You think that's 255.00? That is so far. Let's tell you what this actually is. Here we go. Let's ask Adobe. Actually, no, you know what? We can ask ourselves because we just put a sample in there. We open the color editor. We go here. It's 224/2645, bro. I'm going to show you how different that is. If it's 255.00, it looks like that. Which actually in context also isn't that bad of a color. But it's, you know, colors are really interesting because like regular, if you just draw, you know, everybody's always like, hey, I'm starting up my new graphics program. I drew a triangle on the screen. Let's make it red. It looks fucking ugly, right? But if you actually do 25500 here, this actually looks good because it's surrounded by context that helps make it look good, right? This is the thing that programmers are not good at. The colors look way too, yeah, dude, yes. Shut up. I don't care. That's easy. Yes, we can change the color of the title bar. I never have bothered. The red buttons I don't think are too aggressive. I think the red buttons are fine. Context changes. It's like the magic of color is how much context changes colors. You know. Yes, this is a hella ugly title bar. Absolutely. No argument there. So many things are wrong with it. Yeah, this is great. Let's take the W. Commit. Refactored sampling stuff. That's what happened. All right, well, I think we can, since we just did a bunch of restructuring, I think we'll do some adding functionality, right? So we'll do time view controls. And then later when we want to do generate samples without widget, this is just going to be a bunch of search and replacing. It's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but we'll see. Hopefully it's easy, because especially because we just factored out, like, interpolate one sample there. I bet. Oh, dude, we could use programming language features. We could do this. Interface. Actually, can we even do that without interface? Holy shit, dude. I mean, we literally just solved the problem right there. Like, yeah, we'll see. If we want to make it non-polymorphic, we could store these as parallel arrays, but like, maybe this is fine. GG easy. All right. I'm going to cook up some tea water, and then we will start adding time view controls. There's two obvious things we need. We need to control the rate, and we need like a play pause button. Okay. While the water is boiling, let me go at least write a comment about that. Interpolate one sample is polymorphic because we authored this code to operate on augmented keyframe. But if you want to generate samples without... Oh, you know what? This isn't really the Okay, it's not done, actually, because this is what we actually need. This is the bulk operation. Yeah, we'll see. We're still going to have to go, because you don't, basically, you don't want to need this, because this is GUI stuff. You don't want to need GUI stuff to generate the samples. You want to be able to deserialize, you know, just some... just some data that has nothing to do with user interface, off an entity or whatever. So now it's probably a small change, because we probably so we need the sorted keyframes, and this could be over the sorted keyframes as well. Oh, that's literally it. Let's actually do... Let's do that, right? And then... generate color samples. Okay. Copy output to clipboard. All right. Easy clap. Easy clap. Copy to clipboard. Boom. So again, we made them both polymorphic, so we could go finish that comment. If we wanted to make these non-polymorphic, we could just store the data in a parallel array. The thing is, maybe we want to let users pack color keyframe data together. You know what I'm saying? We'll finish that comment once the tea's steeping, because we could check it off. Okay, we are now steeping the Old Barrel Tea Company chai. Okay. Okay. C, why interpolation is polymorphic. Okay, so this is the explanation. Interpolate one sample and generate color samples are polymorphic because we author this code in but you want the ability to generate samples without having a GUI running. For example, in our case, we want to deserialize particle system entities and then, or particle emitter really, and then generate sampled color arrays to send to the shaders. We could have refactored our code here to keep arrays of base keyframe only, and then a parallel array of the other stuff that's in augmented keyframe. However, it occurred to me that if it's convenient, lazy for me to be able to pack the, what is it called? It's not called base keyframe. It's called color keyframe. If we did that, these functions could take a whatever color keyframe and would not need to be polymorphic, right? Always explain it all the way out in the comments, because I was about to skip over this and it's like, oh, I'm forcing the reader to mentally reconnect that. This is why I'm saying this. However, it occurred to me that it's convenient, lazy for me, if it's convenient, lazy for me to be able to pack the color keyframe data along with other data that's useful for me. Maybe that is similarly true for other people in other cases. So I am leaving this polymorphic for now, but maybe it's better to harden it. Who knows? Okay, so there we go. That's a good comment. That is a good comment. Let's make sure it still compiles. Great. Any no check-ins? No. Small refactor and comment. Boom. Yeah, it's just, that was an interesting comment because I realized that I was skipping over a step of the explanation. And it's like, okay, let's make it a little better. Time view controls. All right. So we're going to want a number input. Well, we're gonna need some stuff. Okay. See, we're making this quad like yeah. Okay. So we're going to say a controls area, right, is a rect. Let's just say it's R. Controls.h equals R square dot y minus R dot y minus inner W, because this is this little bit of padding that we have. Okay, and now, like, if we look at this window, I think I'm just going to be stupid initially and just put, yeah, we're going to use the whole row. So we're going to have a label that says period, maybe, or do people know what a period is? Seconds. Okay. And this is going to be this period variable state dot time view period. All right. All right. We're going to put that on the state. We're going to have a default. Oh my goodness, on the theme. Default time view period is, let's make it 3 seconds. The 4 was a little bit long. Time view period is a float. If created, state.time view period is theme.default time view period. Okay, so now state.time view period time view period. We want the minimum value to be, I don't know, 100th of a second. We just have to avoid divide by 0, right? And the max value, I mean, 100 seconds. I don't know. All right. So we need the rect for this. Label rect, comma, samples input rect is going to be cut left controls 0.5 times controls.w. All right. Theme. Okay. We don't have the theme. All right. Dope. Oh, I guess state.theme is not set. Right, we're only doing, see, I copy pasted the time view from the color picker. All right. We'll do that out here. The callbacks for pop-ups number, input, theme, etc. Okay. I knew when I did that that was going to... Oh, okay. We have a different problem. We have a problem in our font code. So it looks like it's behaving from our level as you'd expect. We're getting a font. We're loading a font. And then we've got an uninitialized variable. We might have to pop the debugger. I was not expecting that. I was expecting all this to just work perfectly. Let's go. Boom. Load font part 2. Pixel height. Minus 205. That's not good. Is something not initialized? F size. Minus 205. Oh, my rect is wrong. Oh, so 205 was sus because that's an integer. I think that's like OXCD or something, right? But that's not actually the problem. It's like, it's also 315 times 0.65. All right, I'm pouring my tea. Do you think you'll do... Oh, I steeped it too long. I made it too strong. It's fine. We'll put milk in. I've been putting more tea leaves in lately. Do you think you'll do... Select 2 keyframes and scale everything in between so users can add new keyframes while preserving relative intervals? That's a good question. So that's like a time editing kind of a thing, which our setup is too simple to do that right now. We're just going to have to see. We're going to have to see how it evolves in terms of what we want to do and what people want to do with it. I think I could imagine something like that, but I do think it depends on what you're generating the data for, how exactly you want these features to behave. So maybe our job as the ones making this layer of the code is just to make it as easy as we can for people to add stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe though, like if we're going to need it for our own particle system, which we might, I don't know, then we might as well just put it in there by default and give it to everybody, unless it seems esoteric and like you don't want to add code if most people don't want it, because that just increases the volume of the code and so forth. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, green tea. Green tea is the hardest tea to deal with. Because if you oversteep it, it's nasty ass, right? Yeah. can just see needing to move all the frames each time you add one. Yeah, well, so the thing is just the representation that we have right now for that bar doesn't actually have time in it, right? It's just 0 to 1. And then it's up to you to scale that to time. And so what it means to rescale to insert a keyframe, like, I don't exactly know what that means in that scenario. Whereas if it was all actually like exact time, then you would know what that means, I guess, right? Because you'd be like, I want to add an extra half a second in the middle of this color. But that's just not part of the concept right now, which makes it hard to add that kind of feature. Have I done anything with the idea of how an operating system should work? No, but if I get a bunch of money, I might want to at some point. Right now, I'm too broke. I'm broke because we ain't released a game in a long time. How much money are we talking? I mean, so we need to continue making games, right? So we need to have, we need to have like 10 or 12 million dollars in the bank for the games, at least. And then we probably would need to have, at least a few $1,000,000 for the operating system project, but probably like it depends, because you want to start it small with a core team, and that's not too expensive, but you also need to be able to scale it up. So it would be like, I don't know, if I had a good $8 million in addition to what I need for the games, that's probably enough. I'm a Twitch streamer. Yeah, dude, we make like, I don't remember how much we make a month off Twitch. I stream very intermittently, so sometimes it's a lot more than other times. But we make bank off Twitch, dude. We make like $700 a month. It's crazy. $5 to start it off. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you put enough $5 together, suddenly you have $8 million. So it is not to be laughed at. Okay, so my rect is, we actually maybe want some debug mode stuff for GetRect that detects negative sized rects and stuff, but I'm not going to rat hole on that now because we have a mission here. So this label rect is badge minus 315. Which means controls is badge minus 315. Okay, hold on. R.y, R square.y, inner W. Oh, I subtracted. This is, I didn't read the code enough. This is margin. Margarine, time view. Oh God. Yeah, I made it really big. I don't think you need 1 second. There we go, faster. See, it works, 0.1. Boom. Epilepsy warning, 0.2. 0.4. Let's turn on wrapping. Let's put some period of darkness. Are we releasing any of our games on Linux as well? We released Braid on Linux and nobody bought it. We will probably do Braid Anniversary on Linux just because we did Braid on Linux, but you can't make money that way. Send you the link. I mean, it's I don't think it's up anymore. It was on like the Canonical App Store or whatever back in the day. And then we also, you know, for Humble Store, we had a Linux version up. That might still be up, actually. I need more people in Linux. I mean, just make Linux good, and more people will use it. The problem, like, it's never been easier. Like, Windows is so bad now. Windows used to be pretty good around the Windows 7 time. I mean, it always had a bunch of cruft it didn't need, but it used to be pretty good. Now it's just so bad, and it's getting worse. And like, all Linux has to do to actually win the desktop now is to fucking make a good desktop, and they just are culturally incapable of that. So why not release it as a Flatpak? Well, Flatpak didn't exist, but also not that many people can run Flatpak. Like, if you release a Flatpak, you'll get a bunch of complaints from people who can't run it. So it's like, all right. You'd accept not sabotaging itself constantly. I know, dude. Believe me, I know. All right, I got some milk in my chai. Let's go. What were we even doing before we were saying all this stuff? Oh, yeah. We had this giant ass thing. We could pick a standard button height, like, must happen first because state.button bar or button height gets set there. We could actually no, we don't. No, let's not do it. Let's just I keep thinking this function is named something that it is not. Dude! Callback time view. Okay. All right, so let's just say all right. All right. So all right. So here we go. Now we made it a little small, and really, like, again, like we gave, oh, we're not, okay. We probably want to include the same margin up here as we have down here. Let's do that. So we're going to have controls. Controls is shrink controls by margin. All right. Time view, boom. Okay, so now it's at least on the thing. I think we could let this be bigger, but also like this doesn't need to be that big. So I mean, so I think we'll make this again a hair smaller than it is, and then just here. We'll do that. Like we could make it a slider or something. I don't know. Sliders are sometimes not good because you don't know the total range. Um, okay, that's pretty reasonable. And we could fit stuff over here if we want. Um, top left, top right is cut left controls by 0.5. Um, um, I don't know. Putting a little bit of margin in the middle there again. Okay, I got that wrong somehow. Oh, yeah, well, Lol. Lol, 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 lol. Okay. All right. This is fine for now. I don't like the way the cursor is sitting in here, but okay. So we could have like a play pause button over here. If state.time view, okay, text is if x state.time view playing, then pause else play. All right. We need a button. Play, pause, pressed. There's going to be button top left, text. All right, if play, pause, pressed, then all right, and then here, boom. All right, pause. Oh, well, it doesn't actually pause anything right now because we don't pay attention to the variable, but let's do that. So to do that, we're going to have to go here. Time view current time is a float, only goes from 0 to 1. Okay. So if state.time view playing cast float current dt times greater than or equal to 1 time minus equals 1 state.time view current time equals time. All right. Oh, whoops. 0 to oh, guys, this is interesting. Now that you could, so before you could change the period, we could just clamp like this and keep a clamped time value. But now that you could change the period, like we want you to be able to change the period without the animation changing discontinuously. So we're going to, yeah, this is going to be a big num here, or medium num. All right. So time is going to be state.timeView current time plus current dt. This just simplifies out. All right. Okay, so we keep a continuous timer. Oh, no, you know what? It's going to change discontinuously anyway because of this. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, time view. Pause. Play. Pause. Play. Pause. Play. So, I don't know. I mean, should we have step forward, step backward? Maybe, right? We could put those down here. But it is time for me to go for now and go out in the day and do some things. So I think that, yeah, maybe we have like steps. I don't know. Maybe step doesn't make sense because maybe you would just click up here. We need to think about this. It's just all yucky yellow now. All right, successful. Successful. We need to think about, do we want other controls there? Do we have any no check-ins? No. We're going to take the W. Time view controls. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you later on. We'll probably do another stream in the afternoon.